Hi everybody, this is Miss Matzi, and I just wanted to go over what we've been learning for the last couple of days in class. So we've been working a lot on climate, especially like the difference between climate and weather. Weather is just day to day, whereas climate is long term. So today, like, the weather is 75 degrees. That's really unusual for our climate. When you look at the temperatures for every day that was February 20th for the last 30 years, and when they average that together, we have a much lower average temperature for our climate. We also worked in the stations these last 2 days, so some students were working on these climographs. These climographs are showing both temperature and precipitation on the same graph. Other students were working on this review sheet here, and one of the important things here is that you see as you move up from the equator at 0 all the way up to 90 here at the North Pole, the temperatures decrease. So as you move up in latitude, the temperatures decrease. You see behind me too, this chart here, at 0 at the equator, that's an area of low pressure. Low pressure areas are characterized by rainy, cloudy, overcast weather, whereas here at 30 degrees you have an area of high pressure, and that's characterized by clear, sunny days. Up here at 60 you have another area of low pressure, and then you have the cold air coming down at the North Pole, and that's going to create an area of high pressure. So you are also looking at the climate zones. You are looking at the tropical climate zone. Tropical climate zones are hot and they're wet, so you find them at the equator. We were also looking at desert climate zones, and those are areas that are warm and dry. So that's why, surprisingly, a lot of students are thinking that deserts are found at the equator because the equator is hot. But you have to think about not only the temperature, but also the precipitation of an area when you're thinking about its climate. So that's why the deserts are found at the 30-degree range, because that's where you have high pressure, but you still have relatively warm temperatures as well. But with deserts, you're really thinking about the precipitation. The lack of precipitation is what's causing a desert area. Then up here at the 60-degree, we're calling that our temperate zone. That's sort of like close to where we live. Cooler temperatures, but the precipitation is still relatively high. And then at the North Pole, you have that high. So you have very little precipitation at the North Pole and the South Pole. So a lot of students are thinking of that as a wet area because they're thinking, oh, the North Pole and the South Pole, there's snow. But actually, where you have these areas of high pressure, you're really not having very much rain at all. I think the main thing that we need to work on as a class is students are still thinking about this idea of warm air is less dense, so it rises. So a student gave me a good way to remember that. He said, it's a hot air balloon, not a cold air balloon. And so that can help you remember when you're starting to think about, well, is it cold air or warm air that's rising? It's the warm air that's rising. That's what helps a hot air balloon rise. Some reminders as we're moving forward. Your quiz is getting postponed, so you're not having a quiz tomorrow. Your quiz is going to be on Friday for B Day and on Monday for A Day. Also, I was doing grades over the weekend, and I noticed a lot of students were missing this sheet right here. It's called the evaluation sheet core content, and that's a 10-point assignment. You want to pass that in. Otherwise, I think some students might still need to work on their alternate assignment. If so, come and see me. I'll be after school on Thursday with the late buses, and I'll look forward to seeing you all soon.